You know, it's pretty rare that I am rendered speechless by the decisions made by game companies these days. I tend to think that nothing can surprise me anymore, or nothing can shock me. But the way this whole Shadow of War thing has just gone from really bad to even worse just left me speechless. When I read this earlier today, much earlier today, I just kind of stared at the computer screen with this slightly open jaw and just, I couldn't believe what I was reading. So, wow. So, okay. In the last video, I talked about Middle-earth Shadow of War's microtransactions. You know, in the form of the loot chests and the war chests and the XP boosters and everything. Those were shit. Those were already bad because you're putting them in a single-player only game. And that's pretty terrible. I hate that. I think that is one of the worst things that could happen to this game. And remember, I set the bar pretty low in my head for what these microtransactions were going to be. But WB just found a way to lower the bar even more in my head, because they turned out to be worse than I could have imagined, expected even. Well, it's gotten worse. Just when you think it couldn't have possibly gotten any worse. Middle-earth Shadow of Middle-earth Shadow of War is now getting a multiplayer mode. And now, not only are these microtransactions tied to the single player now, they are tied to the multiplayer mode. And let me read to you what the multiplayer mode is going to be, or it's a ranked online mode or whatever. And I'm reading from Eurogamer. So, in Middle-earth Shadow of War, players will have 2 ways to invade other people's Mordors when the game launches this year. The first of these is a new mission type called Social Conquest. The other sees the return of vendettas from Shadow of Mordor with 1 or 2 tweaks. I'm not going to get into the vendetta thing. The vendetta part I don't think is that big of a deal, because that is something that where you aren't competing against other players and you aren't really risking your own stuff. That was a feature in the original Shadow of Mordor. It was a cool little thing. I'm actually glad that they are expanding that for the sequel. So that's fine. I have no problem with the vendetta mode. Social Conquest is where my ire is with. Because in Social Conquest, players can set up a captured fortress however they choose, installing an overlord and a series of captains from their existing follower base. They will also be able to purchase upgrades for their defending army before sharing that fortress online. After that, other players will be free to assault the fortress using their own army, loading into the defending player's instance of Mordor and launching an attack. During the assault, the attacking player will be free to kill or brand the defending player's fortresses, though it's worth noting that any branded troops will not be carried over when the attacking player returns to their instance of Mordor. Cool. Like, that's like a small little, like, but you get this. Now, doesn't this sound familiar? Where have I heard this type of thing before? Konami and their forward operations thing from Metal Gear Solid 5: The Phantom Pain. You remember those microtransactions 2 years ago? Well, Warner Brothers played, I guess we're the only people that cared about the forward operation bases from Phantom Pain. A wildly criticized move on Konami's part. And when you're imitating Konami, wow. Holy shit. You are imitating Konami. Literally the most hated publisher out there right now. I know you're competing, Warner Brothers, but you're not there yet. You're not Konami level. I haven't heard any stories of you abusing your employees and shit like that. So, but wow, imitating Konami. Taking a page out of Konami's dirty, nasty book. Wow. Wow. Okay. There are two different ways to take on a fortress in Social Conquest. Friendly conquests allow players to mount an assault without risk to their followers. In ranked mode, players will be able to earn a better assault rating with each successful conquest, with that rating dropping in the event of a failed attempt. Vitally, ranked mode is also different in that the attacking player's followers are at risk. If a captain dies during an assault, it's dead for real. They give some analogy, but let me add in my own little asterisk. They're not just dead for real in the multiplayer, they're dead for real in your single player. So if you go into this mode with a fuckload of armies that you've managed to grind for hours to get and lose it all in that one Social Conquest ranked thing, they're gone forever. You will not get them back unless you are lucky enough to find them with the exact same stats, and since they're all procedurally generated in the world, I don't think that's gonna happen. And this is also tied to the microtransactions, which the microtransactions make this a pay-to-win system. I don't fucking care. Similar to Injustice 2. I don't give a shit that you can turn off the risk that you have, or it gives you an advantage. I care that it's there. I care that Warner Brothers is spending their fucking time and money in order to make this mode that absolutely nobody fucking asked for. And this is pay to win. Now for all the people complaining that, well, this isn't paid, this isn't too bad, it's only in the single player. They are now, Warner Brothers heard those cries and went, let's fuck that up and put this in a multiplayer mode that nobody asked for. So, these attacking players, if they want to compete, they lose. They lose everything. If they fuck up, they're done. And then, for the people that don't even want to bother playing the game, they just want to go in and grind and just buy all of these orcs to get them back, and then lose them all over again in the rank match, and then buy them all over again. Or you have the opposite effect, where you buy, and you get this gigantic, overwhelming army of orcs, and you never lose. You pay to win. This is it. You pay to win. How is this not pay to win? Why? Because it's only an option? It's optional that you can invade in this? I don't care if it's optional. It doesn't matter if it's optional. It's there. It affects the game. Not only are they now probably going to fuck with the progression even more for the single player, they're going to fuck with it even more for the multiplayer. Because no shit muncher company puts this bullshit in their games, there are microtransactions in these games, just so you cannot buy it. How many times do I have to explain this to people that go, well, it's just optional, it has no skin off my nose, I can just ignore it. They want to tempt you to do this. And it hasn't been explained yet whether or not this can be turned off. Which I'm going to give Warner Brothers the benefit of the doubt that they aren't that stupid. Because even Konami allowed it to go offline permanently in that game. I've never ever turned Phantom Pain online whenever I played it. Never touched Metal Gear Online. Never touched the forward operation bases. So I have to assume that you can turn all of this bullshit off. Which, if you can, good. That's the way it should be. Shouldn't even be there to begin with, though. And of course, Eurogamer has to suck their dick and be like, happily, the rewards for successfully attacking a base are plentiful. Capturing a fortress will reward the player with a conquest loot chest. There's another loot chest, a conquest loot chest, and some spoils of war, which are points that accumulate in order to earn spoils of war chests. That's 4 chests now. These chests contain followers and other goodies, allowing players to get stronger before returning to the Mordor from whence they came. So we have 4 loot boxes now, and the Vendetta. Wait a minute. Am I reading that correctly? There's a Vendetta loot chest. There's 5 loot chests now. There's 5 different kinds of loot chests. There's a regular loot chest. There's a war chest. There's a Vendetta chest. There's a fortress chest, a conquest chest, or spoils of war chest, and a loot chest. There's 5 different loot chests now. Holy shit! No. This cannot be for real. This is fucked up. This is the new low. This is the new low. I can't think of another game that is doing this to the sheer unsupervised level of greedy excess that Warner Brothers is doing this. Look at this shit. What? How much money is enough, Warner Brothers? How much money is enough? You're charging $60 for the game. You have microtransactions. You have a fucking DLC. You have 2 DLC packs coming in. You have a stupid pre-order bonus. And now you want to put in all this new optional fucking multiplayer shit that is pay to win and that will just, like, psychologically, and it's RNG loot. You don't buy these orcs. You buy the chance to get the orcs that are powerful that you want. This is not a guarantee, so people that are addicted to this shit and will buy into this shit, they'll be spending a ton of money onto this. You're taking advantage of people that have a gambling problem. Do you have no shame? Do you have no shame? And this, I can't believe I'm going to say this as a positive. This is not like Overwatch, where Overwatch, I don't like Overwatch's loot chests already. I don't like them. I think they fuck with the game progression. But yes, they are cosmetic. They're better than this. They're better than this. That just completely makes the whole point of playing the single player pointless. That completely renders their only multiplayer aspect pay to win if you want to go into ranked matches, which... that's your only option for these people that just really want to be competitive. If they want to risk stuff, fine. That's your prerogative to risk everything. And then you go into this pay-to-win system. And you can fuck off, Warner Brothers. You can fuck right off. Kiss my ass. And no wonder development costs are so high. I'm seeing I've seen this argument from so many people that defend these microtransactions that go, well, development costs are so high right now. First of all, development costs do not need to be this high. They don't need to pump out the ass these revolutionary graphics and everything. That's where the big inflation comes in. Secondly, they're expensive because they're wasting money on this multiplayer mode that, again, nobody fucking asked for. Who asked for this? Raise your hand if you asked for a pay-to-win, foreign operations-based social conquest, fort conquest kind of bullshit from a single-player-only experience. Raise your hand. Somebody please tell me that they wanted this. Please. That way there's some minute justification in this. No, fuck that. There's no justification in this. There's no justification in Warner Brothers being a greedy shit. I've ragged on EA in the past. I've ragged on Ubisoft plenty of times in the past. I've ragged on Activision in the past. I have never in my life seen something like this. This is the new low. This is the new low. There was a great article from Forbes today by Paul Tassi, who I'm a big fan of, and he basically said that this is the new low for microtransactions in this gaming space, console space. This is the new low. And I would argue that microtransactions jumped the shark years ago. If anyone remembers, like, the Diablo 3 incident, or the Forza 5 thing, or even, like, Metal Gear Solid 5, like I said, and Call of Duty a long time ago. He's absolutely right. This is the new low. I have never seen anything like this. I have never in my life, I never thought we would get to this point. And thank God, I am so happy to see so much pushback from this, so many people going, there's that vocal minority that go, whatever, this doesn't bother me. The vast majority are like, fuck this, we won't even buy it. And I already said I'm not going to buy it, because I won't, because I don't like feeling like an asshole. And to use the analogy on my last video, like a cash-filled fucking udder that Warner Brothers are gonna squeeze my teats for more money out of this social conquest crap. Hello? Ooh. Keep this in mind as well. I want you people to keep this in mind as well, you guys. Warner Brothers don't give a fuck about you. This basically has shown me that Warner Brothers does not give a fuck about goodwill or good pro-consumer business practices or anything. They don't care. They really don't care. They're up there with EA, Ubisoft, Activision. I think they're worse. With this, with the shit that they've pulled these last couple of days, they're worse. They're even worse in my mind. And I don't want to say that, I'm going to like boycott this company or boycott this series, but it makes me sad. It is absolutely fucking depressing that Warner Brothers has no respect, no sense of dignity for the franchises that they hold. And they hold some of my favorite franchises. DC, Mortal Kombat, Batman, Mordor was a very good game. Shadow of Mordor was a very good game back then. It hasn't held up as well these days, but it's still a damn good game with a damn good Nemesis system in it. Warner Brothers doesn't give a fuck. They're just gonna completely come in and fuck Monolith up the ass. And I seriously doubt this is Monolith's fault. I have to believe that this is Warner Brothers, that this is all Warner Brothers that are putting their hand up Monolith's asshole and using their mouth to talk like a fucking puppet, like a sock puppet. Monolith is Warner Brothers' unfortunate sock puppet, where they have to talk about how great these microtransactions are, and how so much value this XP boosters have, and all the social conquests, how these modes are so great and everything. Warner Brothers, they are sacrificing the potential goodwill and money, because I've already seen a ton of people on Reddit, ton of people on Eurogamer, ton of people on across the internet have said, no, I will not be buying this now. And honestly, I never like to say this, but I hope Shadow of War bombs. I hope it becomes a Titanfall 2 situation where people look at it and just go, I'm not buying that. Not buying that shit. And it just becomes a flop. It has dramatically decreased sales from Shadow of Mordor, and WB looks at it and goes, fuck. Well, we didn't make the money that we wanted. Because that's the only way they're gonna listen. Money. Dollar signs. Euros. Pesos, yeah? That's the only way. And WB? Sacrificing potential goodwill and money and love from customers, from many customers, in favor of exploiting the people that will use this fucked up pay-to-win system. And I'm not going to use the term whales because that is so demeaning and dehumanizing. I hate that we associate that companies associate customers with fucking sea creatures. Keep that in mind. Warner Brothers, They are sacrificing the goodwill of many to just exploit the few that will get into this. They're like, fuck you. We don't need you. We have these people that will make all the money that you guys ever would have for us. Probably even more. Keep that in mind. And the last point that I want to make is that this is Lord of the Rings. Are you guys seriously worried about these companies making back their money? Where you feel like it's justified to fuck the game up by cramming in this bullshit? It's Lord of the Rings. It's Injustice. It's DC. It's Batman. It's Mortal fucking Kombat. These properties make money. These properties are hugely successful. Star Wars will make its money back. Call of Duty will make its money back. Overwatch, it's Blizzard. They'll make their money back. And it's disgusting. It is insulting and undignified for a franchise like Lord of the fucking Rings, one of the most popular and iconic brands in the world, is considered to not be that big of a selling point for Warner Brothers. They can't rely on the IP alone. One of the most iconic IPs in the world, beloved by billions of people around the world. WB has to feel like they have to cram in this shit. They have to associate this iconic, legendary brand with this greedy, disgusting business, these greedy, disgusting business practices. It's absolutely fucking undignified, demeaning, dehumanizing, demoralizing. You are turning this franchise into a cold husk of a money machine. That's what this is. That's what this is. So really, I don't really have anything to say anymore. Oh, actually, no, I do. I have one more point. The reason I criticize cosmetic-only microtransactions as well is not only because I think the progression system is influenced by them, but also by the fact that they definitely have a knockoff effect. I bet you EA and Warner Brothers looked at all the success that Overwatch had with their microtransactions and thought to themselves, we need that money. We need all the money that they're making. We need those loot boxes. They looked at, and I love GTA 5, but fuck their microtransactions. They looked at GTA 5. When I made my Red Dead Redemption 2 video and I said that that kind of money that you make from microtransactions, that has a knockoff effect. That has impact. Companies will see that as an influence and let it infect their own IP. They'll go, we want that money. Because this amount of money that we'll get just on brand name alone is not enough. It's not enough that Lord of the Rings fans will buy this game and enjoy this game. It's not enough that Monolith created this new beautiful system and are making it even better for Middle-earth Shadow of War. It's not enough. Not enough that we have all these great gameplay elements, this excellent presence at E3. That's not enough. We need more. We need pay-to-win microtransactions. We need all of your money. And it's disgusting. This is the new low, people. In the nearly 4 years that I have had this channel, this is the new low. Not only is this tied to single player now, where it breaks the whole game, this is tied to multiplayer now. That will break the whole thing. And I don't care if there is a friendly mode. It breaks the fucking game. And even the friendly mode, you can buy the damn orcs that you want in the RNG loot system, and you'll win. You'll win. You'll win. So this is probably This is it. After this point, after the complete disrespect that Warner Brothers has shown not only myself as a Lord of the Rings fan, as a fan of Middle-earth: Shadow of Mordor, the disrespect to you guys, the disrespect to a legacy. As of this moment, I will no longer be covering Warner Brothers games on this channel. From this point on, I don't care what the next games are, you will never, ever see a video from Warner Brothers on this channel showing off their gameplay ever again. Never. I will never do that. And I don't usually like to tell people to vote with, to do whatever they want with their money. But really, if you guys care at all about the future of games, that you care at all about good business practices and this in a hobby that you love, a lifestyle that you love, don't support Warner Brothers. Don't support Middle-earth: Shadow of War, because if people don't buy this, and it's the flop that I hope it will be, I don't think it will, but I seriously hope it will be, that will show Warner Brothers something. They'll look at this and go, fuck, this isn't working. Change it. So I guess the final thing I have to say is just, fuck you, Warner Brothers. Fuck you. I didn't think you could sink any lower, but yeah, Warner Brothers. Man, oh man, when you imitate Konami, when you're worse than Ubisoft or EA in my mind, that's an accomplishment. So I'll end this video with one final thing. Fuck you, Warner Brothers. Fuck you. Greedy assholes.